And welcome to our farm HR information session. Now, employment contracts. So an employment contract is an agreement between an employer and an employee, and it sets out the terms and conditions of employment. However, a contract can be written or verbal. If you fall under that national system, it actually states that it must be a written agreement. So section 10.2b states that a full-time employee must be provided with a written statement setting out their classifications, applicable pay scales, and terms of engagement. Section 10.3c states that a part-time employee will need an agreement in writing regarding regular patterns of work, specifying the hours that they work each day and so forth. So again, something else in writing. So best practice is to have these employment contracts in writing. There's an array of different things that you can include in them. Keep in mind that an employment contract is a legal document. So you need to have your legal entity name and their legal name on the document. So the employee's legal name on the document. You need to state the position that they are undertaking, so a general farmhand or a spray rig operator or whatever. You need to state their nature of employment, so whether that be full-time, part-time, casual, or a fixed-term contract. You need to specify the award and classification. So if you're under the pastoral award, then you would write something along the lines of a level 3 employee with outkeep under the provisions of the pastoral award 2010. You need to specify the duties. Now, I wouldn't recommend putting their whole list of duties in the employment contract. I would just state something along the lines of you're required to perform the duties of your position outlined in your position description and any other duties we may assign to you having regard to your skills, training and expertise. So then you could potentially have a secondary document such as a position description which outlines all of their positions. You then need to potentially put in there a probation period if they are a permanent employee, whether this be 3 months or 6 months. You need to specify their hours of work. You then need to specify the remuneration. So there's 3 different ways you can specify a permanent employee's remuneration. You can pay them the hourly rate that the award states plus penalties and overtime. So if you were to do that, then any hours worked over 38 would be classed as overtime. Any work on a Saturday or a Sunday also classed as overtime. You can pay them an annual salary. That's the second option. So they could be paid, say, $80,000 a year, and then that would cover, depending on how many hours they work, but that should cover, all of their overtime and so forth. Now, there's new rules regarding that called annualised salaries. We're going to alter any of the clauses in the award, such as, overtime. You don't want to pay them those penalties on a weekend. Then you need to implement an IFA. So that's another way you could pay them is specify what the ordinary rate of pay would be, and then you could then look at paying them a higher rate to cover some of these penalties and allowances. Remuneration. So also in remuneration, you need to include if they're going to be getting accommodation, if they're paying for that accommodation and so forth. The next thing you need to include is policies and procedures. So just have reference to your policies and procedures in there. Don't obviously detail them in your employment contract, just have a reference in there. And then there's other things that you can also include, such as there's optional clauses. You can include things such as asking for a statutory declaration regarding workers' compensation claims. You can include a pre-employment medical. There's an array of other things that you could ask for: driver's license, ChemCert certificates, things like that. You could include information regarding leave. Please don't detail all the leave that they're entitled to, because that could potentially change. So just include something along the lines of as per the leave policy that you've created. You could include information regarding termination, so notice periods that they're required to give you as per the National Employment Standards. You can include information regarding training, other terms and conditions, confidentiality, conflicts of interest, competition and restraint, and fitness for work.